So, welcome everybody. This webinar is about the new purchasing incentive program for New Hampshire that maybe you've been hearing about for a while. So it passed we tried 3 years to get this legislation passed, and it just passed last year. The governor signed the bill last July. So we're just starting to launch this now. It's actually a program of our New Hampshire Department of Agriculture, not New Hampshire Farm to School. So, but we're just here giving an informational webinar about the program and are here to ask any questions you have and answer any questions you have to the best that we can. So if you have questions, you can put them into the chat. And then we can also leave time at the end for questions. I don't, Nicole, because I have the share, I can't see the chat. If you can monitor that, I think we could probably answer questions as we go along. So just interrupt me if there's a question.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So what is the Purchasing Incentive Pilot Program? The program established by House Bill 678FN incentivizes New Hampshire school districts and food service directors to purchase locally grown and produced New Hampshire food for breakfast, lunch, and fresh fruit and vegetable program services through a pilot program that is launching this spring. So it's going to be administered by the New Hampshire Department of Agriculture, Markets and Food. When we got the bill passed, it came with money that supports the program, and the money is at the New Hampshire Department of Ag, Markets and Food. One school or SAU per county will be selected to participate through a request for application process, which opens tomorrow. Don't have the link to it yet, but we'll share a link where you can find the application. So selected schools will be supported by the Food Alliance and New Hampshire Farm to School for the duration of the pilot. So the Department of Ag is running the financial component of the program, but our programs are going to provide a lot of support to help you connect you to food, troubleshoot issues, help you, apply, help with reporting, whatever you think you might need help with. We are here to do that. So the reimbursement is set at $1 for every 3 federal dollars spent on New Hampshire grown and produced foods. So your federal lunch money that comes in, that's what you use to support your school food service programs. You have to spend $3 on New Hampshire food to get $1 back from the state. The total reimbursement available will depend on your school meal participation rates and the number of students. So then, the Department of Ag will figure out the math, and then you will know how much money you will have available for the reimbursement. But at minimum, it's 5,000, and I'm sure it will be more than that. So saying if it was 5,000, that means you have to spend 15,000 of your dollars on New Hampshire food to get $5,000 back from the state. So the application is opening tomorrow. The deadline is February 12th. The Department of Ag will be selecting the schools they're supposed to get together a group of professionals to make that selection. I'm not on the committee. The Food Alliance is not on that committee. So I won't have a say, and I won't see your applications, and I won't have any say in who gets selected and who doesn't. So hopefully by March 1st, whoever is selected will be notified. The program is anticipated to begin April 1st, 2025 and run through June of 2026. So there is a link to where you can find the application. Again, deadline to apply February 12th, school selected by March 1st. So I didn't have any role in creating the application, so I don't exactly know what's going to be asked. I'm sure they're going to ask basic information about your school and, how many kids are in your school, rates are free and reduced, all that kind of stuff, where your school is. But they're also going to be asking about commitment to the program. They want schools to actually participate for the duration of the program because it's really going to be hard if a school backs out to get another school on board. So if you're going to apply and you get selected, you have to commit to the program. They're going to ask about how you plan to spend the money, how you plan to incorporate local food into your meals. Some of you may be doing this already. Like farm to school might be something you already do. Maybe you have connections to farms in your area already, and that's great. You can talk about that, but it's not a prerequisite for being selected. They just want to know that you have some idea of how you're going to spend the money and how you're going to use the food that you do buy. So, this is a very important slide. So, once you're selected, the Department of Ag will need a signed certificate of authority and a signed contract because you will be contracting with the New Hampshire Department of Ag to get that money. So, so you need to know who in your school or SAU is eligible to sign contracts. You need to know, will it need to get approved by the school board? So you really need to know if you're the applicant and you're not the signer of contracts, who is, what is the process to get contracts signed and money approved? So that's really going to be key information to facilitate getting this program up and running because you will have to get signed contract back to the Department of Ag in a timely manner so we can kick this off as soon as possible. It's most likely that all of these contracts will have to go through the Governor's Council, which meets twice a month. They approve contracts in the state over $10,000. So, because most likely these contracts will be over $10,000, they have to go to Governor's Council. So there is a process of getting selected, getting the paperwork back to the Department of Ag, the Department of Ag getting these contracts to the Governor's Council for approval before the program can actually begin. So it's really important that you know the process and who can sign contracts in your school district. Because I'm not sure it's the food service director. It could be a business administrator, superintendent, you know, there could be a school board approval being needed, maybe not, I'm not sure, but you really need to know all of that information. So if schools can get this stuff back by March 12th, then the paperwork can go to the Governor's Council and all get approved by March 26th, and we can kick off the program after that. So really important piece to the program and getting it launched because we are a little bit late getting it launched. So we want to make sure there's, enough time for you to participate in the program and spend the money. So if you're selected, again, the Farm to School and the Food Alliance will be there to help. You'll be considered a cohort of participating schools. We'll have monthly meetings if you want to join. Hopefully you do. We'll also be holding some office hours for any issues that you might have. We'll be directing you to resources of where to buy food. So trying to troubleshoot any issues with the program and support you as best we can so you can spend that money. So, foods that are eligible for the reimbursement. So I keep saying New Hampshire grown foods, and that's what it's about. We originally tried to get it as a regional produced foods, but the state government didn't like that, so it's New Hampshire food. So it can include fruits and vegetables, proteins like beef, pork, poultry, and eggs, seafood, as long as we can understand that it's caught by a New Hampshire fisherman or a fishing boat. Maple syrup, pasteurized cider, dairy products like yogurt and cheese, dairy products from a New Hampshire dairy farm, lightly processed products like applesauce and pre-cut vegetables, as long as they're made with New Hampshire grown fruits or vegetables. So, for more clarity, what's not eligible? Food from farms in other states. So, I don't know if Native Maine is one of your vendors or Food Connects or Three River Farmers Alliance Food Hub in the Seacoast area or any other distributor that might be carrying local and regional food, you have to make sure that it's New Hampshire food. Native Maine carries a lot of Maine food, not a lot of New Hampshire food. So you have to be clear on what you're buying. The same with Food Connects, which is just a food hub that serves, Winchester and Hinsdale is in your distribution area. Um, they should have, when you're ordering, you should see what New Hampshire produce or food items that they carry, and that's what will be allowable for the reimbursement. So we'll be helpful, trying to help you through all of this as well. Um, Fluid milk. So fluid milk is only allowable if it's from a New Hampshire dairy farm, such as Kentucky Creamery, which bottles their own milk. They don't do 8-ounce milks, but you can get, quarts and half gallons through them, or bulk milk if that's of interest. Hood milk that you might be getting, or if you've got Oakhurst or Grelick milk, is not a New Hampshire product. Even though there's a Hood plant here in Concord, New Hampshire, the milk comes from New England farms, not just New Hampshire farms, so it doesn't qualify for reimbursement. So really, the point of this program is to support a lot of farms in the state. And if you were just to try to just buy your Hood milk, that defeats the whole purpose of the program. And Hood milk is not eligible for the reimbursement. But if you are getting something from, say, Kentucky Creamery or Hatchland Dairy, which is up north in North Haverhill, New Hampshire, that milk would qualify. Reporting requirements. So the New Hampshire Department of Ag will supply participating schools with an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of your purchases. The Excel spreadsheet is what schools will submit to receive the reimbursement. So when you're ordering things and you've got the invoices, you need to transfer those purchases into the Excel sheet, which it's going to ask, what'd you buy? What farm or what's your source of the food? How much did you spend? That kind of thing. And I'm not sure exactly how often they're going to ask you to submit that back. It could be monthly, that you submit that back to them to get the reimbursement, but I'm not 100% sure on that detail. So we'll need to find out. So, but you also need to maintain receipts and invoices. So there is some proof of that purchase, and you did buy it from a New Hampshire farm or fisherman. We'll also be collecting some evaluation data to evaluate how it's going. So not only the food you purchase, how much you purchase, what you purchase, where you purchase it from, but other information that will help sort of showcase the program and its impact. Like, was there an increase in school lunch sales because you serve local food? Did the kids, are you doing anything to promote the local food in your cafeteria that is increasing sales or promoting New Hampshire agriculture? Are there things you wish the program had that it doesn't? Are there supports that you wish were in place that currently are? So we're really just looking towards the future, because this is a pilot program, not a permanent policy in the state. So we really want to collect information that if we go forward in another year to try to get a permanent reimbursement program, we'll have information of how best to run that program, and getting feedback from you all that are going to be participating is going to be a big piece of that, besides your purchasing data. So you'll all be required to participate in some evaluation other than your purchases to the Department of Ag. So why should you apply? I hope that you're all on here because you have an interest in applying. Again, we're here to support and coach you for your sourcing. You're going to get, for every $3 you spend, $1 back, which is pretty good. If anyone has cooperative agreement funds, you can use those towards this program as well. You're supporting the New Hampshire economy, you're supporting your local economy, you're supporting your local farms, helping to maintain them, helping to bring them extra income, um, bringing fresh and local food into your school districts, and helping to support farm to school in the state, as well as helping to inform potentially future local food purchasing incentive programs and policies. So beyond, the money that you get, there are definitely other benefits that you will be supporting. So these are contacts. So my email, Rebecca Ross, who's going to be overseeing the program at the Department of Ag, along with Maria Vanderwood. So they will be the contacts at the Department of Ag, and myself and Caitlin and Nicole are your support contacts. All right. Any questions?
All quiet in the chat over here. I've been monitoring it.
Okay.
Any questions out there? So
Pretty
essentially,
straightforward.
it's coming out tomorrow. They say it should be a relatively easy application. We're going to be here to support you the whole way through it and make it as easy as possible.
Where will we be able to find the link to apply?
I shared it in the chat. It's right
perfect.
here.
Thank
It
you.
is again. So it'll be listed on this page, and we'll make sure through the farm to school newsletter and through a follow-up email to you all to send it out as soon as it is released. It was supposed to be out last week, but now the word is tomorrow. So, and I clarified with them too that if I was me and I was filling out the application and it said how much local sourcing you currently do, I would feel weird saying none. But the reality is that most schools don't do a lot of local sourcing. And I clarified, does it count against them if they're not doing local sourcing? Is that sort of a negative thing to put in? And they said no. Not they just need to measure the delta. And that does not work against your application at all to say we're not doing local sourcing right now. They just want to measure how much is happening now versus during and after the program. So just know that don't let that be discouraging for you.
Great. And in fact, I would think, as a pilot program, that's really what this is meant to do, is to kind of breathe life and resources into the schools that need that maybe extra support financially, but also from a resource perspective of information to, help make those connections. And I just wanted to chime in too and just acknowledge that there's a lot of information we're throwing at you, and I think the sourcing part in and of itself can seem really daunting if you haven't done it before. Um, like, where do I even begin? We all know that you are such hard and busy workers as is, and that you already have your sourcing dialed in, I'm sure, and you have your broadline, trucks that show up, and it's like a well-oiled machine. And so to add one more step can feel intimidated, but just want to let you know that we are, working in the background to make those connections with farms. This monthly meeting, I think, will be really helpful. We will just take it one step at a time, digest the information. We are in the midst of a process to develop a wholesale directory, which is basically a catalog of all farms across the state of New Hampshire that have products ready and waiting for you all to order. So that's going to really help catalyze those relationships. So I would just encourage you, if you're interested at all, I would apply. And then, we'll worry about the sourcing and the connections getting into the details later.
I want to say one more thing while we're ranting at you. The side that Stacy did where she said this one's really important, that's a really, it feels like a lot of farm to school programs that work with the state get hung up on that first step. That's to accept the money, you have to be able to sign a contract and then get through governor and council. And we won't know who you are at that point, likely. So we can't even help you along with that step. They won't officially tell us who was awarded, who was selected until after that step. So that's why understanding you have to sign the contract, so you have to figure out who that is, and then there's a certificate of authority that says that's the right person to sign the contract you probably are familiar with it. It's all new to me. And those things, if you line those up in advance, you can turn that around really quickly. No questions? Are you planning to apply? Any hesitations?
Oh, I'm definitely applying. I'm excited for it.
Good.
I
Yay.
wish we
Oh,
had like a dairy co-op for New Hampshire or even New England because Hood is making it almost impossible for schools to like get their milk at a reasonable price and a reasonable like minimums. And I'm shuttling milk to all of my schools. Like I would love to do like, I don't know how to stand behind that. Or I bet you like even if it's like a petition or something and like we could guarantee as schools like X amount of milk. Because I do know that the processing for that is pretty expensive, like the machines, but if we could guarantee those sales to local farmers, that would be huge.
And are you looking for individually packaged or bulk
Oh,
or?
right now, probably because, but I know like if I could find some sourcing for like I just call it a cow machine, like the bulk bags, then maybe I just think that might be a little bit of a
yeah.
nightmare with
So
elementary kids.
the dairy that I mentioned, Kentucky
Yeah,
Creamery,
I love Kentucky. They're so good.
they do bulk milk.
Yeah,
You just need the machine to
yeah.
get their milk. Um, well, if you're, struggling with Hood milk, are you using the state contract for Hood?
I go through the New Hampshire buyer group, but they don't have a dairy bid right now. So
Okay.
I could go out and get other milk, but their minimums are even higher. So it's a
Um,
little challenging.
Kelly, who are you all buying milk through?
We're buying it from Hood as well.
Yeah.
And is that the
We also have
state
the back
contract or
money,
the buying group contract?
the buying group.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what are these details in that bid for Hood
Be-
milk that you're
Well,
talking
Hood
about?
wants to get out of schools. It's too expensive for them to process um the milk because one like carton machine is like $1.2 million. And then they just rather drop a trailer at Dunks or drop a trailer at a Market Basket and not have to worry about paying their drivers to unload and load.
Well, I wonder if we could find a funding source to get those cow machines.
No, that would be awesome. I wonder, can talk to the New England Dairy Council and through like SNA and everything. Maybe we can help and do some promoting. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
some of the, Kentucky Creamery in Hatchland, which is really the only, I think it's the only two dairies that are
Yeah.
pasteurizing and bottling their own milk. So one up north and one south.
Yeah.
And they have an interest in the school market. The equipment, though, to do an
It's
8-ounce
expensive.
milk. I know Hatchland has struggled with bottling 8-ounce milk,
Hmm.
and I don't think that Kentucky has equipment for that.
Hmm.
But there might be a conversation to be had there.
Do you guys have a flyer for this grant that I can put on the SNA social media and webpage?
We
Maybe.
will tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
From the Department of Ag, they're sharing. They're going to do a Facebook post. We'll see what they have and try to supplement it and get it out to this group.
Okay, because I'll make sure it gets on I'm the media chair for SNA, so I'll make sure it gets posted to the website and to their social so that way we can promote it too.
Yeah, so we're also this webinar that's being recorded will be on the Farm to School website, so you can
Awesome.
also link to that. So we'll make sure that
Awesome.
this gets posted ASAP.
And Jenny asked about the contact info. I just copy and pasted it into the chat.
Any final questions?
Well, when the application comes out and we send it, if you get stuck or you're confused, reach out to the Department of Ag and feel free to include us or just reach out to us. We're not on the review committee so that we can support you. So if you get stuck, we're real good at pestering them or finding out answers. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, so and like I said, we didn't have a role in creating the application, so I don't know. I don't know what it says exactly, but we can help if you're like, what does this mean or what does that mean? You can ask us. We might be able to help you there.